My name is Michael Mastro. Today we're going to look at the chart for Jeff Bezos, a rectified time since there is no time of birth, and compare it to actually the chart of the stock when the stock started trading and how that relates to uh, the stock ups and downs. And I'm not a financial advisor. Don't base my any stock market trading on what I say. I'm just looking at how the planets influence things. So, looking at Jeff Bezos' chart, if you look to the eastern horizon when he was born, you would see the constellation associated with Gemini rising at 11 degrees. That becomes the most effective point of every house. Any planet like Mercury, like Moon, that's within 5 degrees, have a lot of impact in the chart. We look at the functional nature of the planets in this system. Any Multikona sign, Multikona means the sign that's closely associated with the planet that rules it. So many planets like Venus rule two signs. Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Venus is all about relationships. Libra is all about relationships, whereas Taurus is not so much. So Libra becomes the Multikona sign for Venus. So we look at the Multikona signs, which are 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11. And these numbers represent the signs. So if we look and see where those Multikona signs are in the chart, then we can determine what Jeff came to work on in this lifetime. So the first sign is Aries, ruled by Mars. It's in the house of income and goals and fulfillment of desires and social connections. Huge income, billions. And then we have the fourth sign of Cancer, ruled by Moon, in the house of wealth and recognition, huge wealth. Also, the stability, marital stability is also associated with that. So he's working on stability in his relationship. Then we have the fifth sign of Leo, ruled by Sun, in the house of entrepreneurial success, business, communication, IT. He's all about, he has a newspaper. He has newspapers. He has Amazon Prime, which is all about the movies, and then you have he started out with books and selling books in the back in his garage, so it's all about communications and IT. And then we have here the sixth sign of Virgo, ruled by Mercury. Mercury is also all about IT. This is the house of happiness through family, vehicles, assets. Then we have the seventh sign of Libra in that fifth house, which has to do with creativity, investments. Then we have the ninth sign of Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, in the house of partnerships. Then we have the 11th sign of Aquarius, ruled by Saturn, in the house of good fortune. So these are the main things he's working on in this lifetime. So let's look and see how the planets are operating. First, we see Sun at 28 degrees. Any planet that's more than 25 degrees or less than 5 is either in old age or infant state, and it cannot protect and promote its own significations. So Sun has to do with leadership and father, and it is in this house of entrepreneurial success, business, communication. So he's hugely successful, but because Sun is weak, it caused some delays. His biological father left when he was just a baby, didn't have much to do with him. He did get support from his grandfather and how to invest and how to have courage to speculate. Moon is 6 degrees. It's strong. It's in this ruling this house of wealth and recognition, and it is placed in the house of partnerships. So it can give some critical nature to partnerships, some moodiness in partnerships, and so he did get a divorce. Moon is has to do with public. It's a public traded company. Um, Mars is at 6 degrees. It's exalted. It's ruling the house of income in the house of research. So a lot of experimentation to see what worked in Amazon. Like I said, it took, there was a lot of delay in it becoming successful, many, many years. But a lot of courage. Mars is all about courage to try something different and experiment with that. Mercury's at 11 degrees. I think we already talked about Mercury. It's right on the most effective point. So IT, communications, hugely strong. Many aspects of Amazon is all about communication. It's conjunct the moon. So there can be some ups and downs depending on if moon is waxing and waning. Some emotional aspect to it. Now, sun I didn't mention, but that can also involve some issues with politics and government, which he has had. Jupiter's at 18 degrees. And it's this partnership, ruling the partnership house in the career. So his career, his business is really related to partnerships and picking them wisely. Venus is at 1 degrees, very weak. It is ruling the house of income, placed in the house of good fortune. And so basically, Venus also is a significator for wife, so it made the relationship a little bit weak and also delay in the income. So it was in the red for many years, Amazon was. Saturn's at 28 degrees, so it's also in old age, ruling the house of good fortune in this house of research. And this also house creates some vulnerability, some obstacles. So I think it gave him discipline, hard work to experiment, and also he's very service-oriented, wanting to help other people, which is good for him for his Rahu and Ketu. That Rahu and Ketu are at 17 degrees, so gives a lot of ambition for fame, and Ketu gives insights into partnerships. They're not afflicting anything, so they're fairly benign in this chart. But during a Rahu-Mercury period, so Mercury is the family, Rahu, unexpected events, is when he got a divorce. What can we do to strengthen the chart? Chants and charities for Rahu and Ketu, basically, and strengthening the weak Venus, the weak Sun, the weak Saturn. With a kavash, containing a silver locket containing the Devata yantras to strengthen those planets, or he could wear a diamond, a blue sapphire, pearl, ruby. So those are the main things. Let's look at the Amazon stock chart. So the stock started trading in May 15th, 1997 at 9:30 a.m. and that is also a Gemini chart. So you would see the planets having similar effects in the houses. So his chart also can affect the stocks. Stocks are affecting the planets in the stock chart are affecting ups and downs. So if we look at the graph for Amazon, you can see it was very flat for many, many years, and then started taking off in early 2015, gradual rise, and then there was some peaks and valleys. So it dropped off in 2018, I think it was September, and then it came back up in beginning of 2019, and it dropped again in beginning of 2020, and went back up again in May of 2020. So let's look at how those different dates affected things. So here we are. In 2015, it started to rise when Sun came out of the eighth house. Sun again is success. So here we have towards the end of September in 2018, took a big drop. Ketu and Mars were the triggers. They're right on top of each other, conjunct. So Ketu, unexpected events affecting the income, the profits. So the stock went down. Then we look and see when did it start to go back up again. If we go to beginning of around February, you see that there's Sun and Mercury in this house of obstacles. And then as we progress towards the middle of February, Sun gets out of those obstacles, and the stock starts to rise. And the next time it takes a dip is in September of beginning of 2020. Let's see. Beginning of 2020, we see Mars and K2 on top of each other again, towards the end of February. So that triggers the downturn, and then we go to May, and we have Mars, which is the income, the profits, being in the eighth house of obstacles for quite some time, and as soon as it gets out of the eighth house, then the stock starts to rise again. So I hope you found this interesting. If you would like to get a Vedic astrology reading, you can go to www.vastucreations.com. If you would like to learn transformational Vedic astrology, you can go to American Institute of Vastu.com. You can see it's quite accurate, quite simple, and you can also get certified by taking level 1 and level 2 in American Institute of Vastu.com. Thanks again for listening. Join us again soon for we might look at Facebook.